Hi guys, Dr. Billy Retzlaff here for ABA-ish. This video is a quick listener response video. After I posted my video about unsafe toddler and preschooler behavior, somebody asked me what my thoughts were or my recommendations were when it comes to requiring calm during that kind of like timeout portion of your response. So if you remember in the toddler video, I recommended a very brief attention removal, like 10 seconds. And then for the little bit older preschoolers, we talked about that you can require a longer break, which includes access to calming strategies when they're on that break. And so the question was, should I wait to end the break? Should I wait to end my attention removal until there's calm? And by calm, what people usually mean is like the kid isn't crying or screaming. Their physiology has come down, like they're physically calm. So this is a really great question. It's actually something that in the science of behavior has been studied a little bit because I think people are always kind of wondering, you know, how should we end timeout? What should that look like? Or how should we end that brief removal of attention? So to be honest, for the kind of my standard response, the first thing I usually try and recommend is to not worry so much about calm, but just to only focus on safety. So if your kid is still trying to hit you throughout your attention removal or bite you or be unsafe in that, I usually try to wait for safety to happen before I give my attention back, but I don't worry so much about screaming and crying. The reason for this is at that young age, they will kind of just usually continue to escalate and escalate. So a lot of times, honestly, the way I get safety is I remove myself so that it's impossible to engage in the unsafe behavior. So what this might look like is, say my son hits me, I might say no, briefly remove my attention by standing up and being far enough away from him that he can't hit me. I might kind of turn. If I have to keep monitoring him, I'll do it out of the side of my eye. A lot of times that's when I'm taking my deep breaths and doing what I need to do to keep myself calm. And then I really quickly go back, redirect, and start getting that moderate attention. So he might still be crying because my attention is removed. But this isn't a response to his crying. This wasn't about him crying. This was about the hitting. So as long as that hitting isn't occurring, I want to get right back into engaging with him as quickly as I can in a positive way so that I can get some of those appropriate behaviors to give high energy to. Same thing with my older kid. If I require them to go take a break, they have access to calming strategies. I'm not forcing them to use them, but they're there and we've practiced and we've talked about what those are. And so they're able to do them on their own if they want to. And then I usually do a check-in and say, you know, how are you feeling? Are you ready to come back? And let the kid kind of guide that. But if they're just crying, I don't sit there and wait for that calm. A lot of kids need help with calming their body down, their physiology down, and so I want to be there with them as long as they're being safe. So talking about that removal is really talking about that unsafe behavior is what we're focused on. Now, that's kind of my general recommendation where you should start, but I will be very honest that with my own daughter, we do usually wait for calm. I actually usually wait for her to choose to end her required breaks because she just calms better that way. She's kind of always been like that. I actually went into parenting thinking, oh, I'm never going to do that. I don't like when people do that. I see how it escalates and escalates kids. It's not worth it. I want to be there and connected with her when she's in those moments. That's just not who she is. She doesn't like that. It doesn't help her. She will continue to escalate until she gets that time on her own. So as she's getting older, she's getting really good about asking for that time on her own, taking it when she needs it. So with her, for her required breaks, she usually is the one who tells me she's ready for the break to end. If it's been a really long time, I'll go in and check in on her and ask her if she's ready. But that seems to work better for her. Again, that's not usually where I'd start. I'd start with ending the break quickly and, you know, just going in there after a minute or two and saying, hey, you can be done whenever you're ready. But there are some kids for whom that might not work. And so then you might get into a situation where you are requiring calm. But it doesn't seem like the best starting place. The best starting place is to check in and try and get them onto those appropriate activities as quickly as you can. Hopefully that was helpful and answered your questions, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Thanks.